I used to feel a lot more motivated when I took a step back and I just enjoyed being me without being in the gym, without being in a calorie deficit, just enjoying life. And then it was kind of like, I get bored of it then. Do you know, I'm like, right, I need to go to the gym. Because, like that, I feel like going to the gym is an hour for yourself. You get to work on yourself for an hour.
Friend, here's something I don't know if you know. While the podcast is a thought of mine for a long time, thinking of me absolutely could not be doing this without our very own Wizard of Oz, Kyle, at Goodnight Podcasting Solutions. Kyle's turnaround time, dedication, and level of service means that I never have to second guess or worry about the level of support in getting our messaging out to you. If you're curious as to starting your own podcast, or just want to see how it might spread your message, reach out to Kyle at kylegoodnight.com or check our show notes. I mean it when I say that we couldn't be doing this without him. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Thinking of Me podcast. Today we have Niamh Kiernan with us, and Niamh, I'm really excited to talk to and catch up with about all things fitness. Niamh is someone I know since 2020, and we've shared a lot of the same story and steps of the journey together, but Niamh is in the direction of the coaching world now. She's also someone who, like myself, has a grow for child development and all things rearing and whatnot else in some capacity. We're in two different spectrums of that field, but Niamh has a huge heart and has a great story of, as I say, not just the fitness side of things, but all things development. And I'll let Niamh introduce herself, but before I hand over, just to really say for anyone listening, if you want to see what real commitment looks like and commitment to yourself, have a look at this gal's page, NK Fitness, because from living away from your family to dedicating yourself to your own goals and now doing that for someone else, Niamh, honestly, to just say to you, and before, as I say, I pass over, it's nothing short of admirable. And that's like such a silly word to even use, because in catching up and coming to have this episode together, for anyone listening, it's no small feat. So Niamh, if you want to maybe share anything about yourself, or as I say, your fitness journey, or any aspect of up to today. And thank you so much again for agreeing to come on.
Thank you for having me, Lauren. I'm so excited for this. So my name is Niamh Kiernan. I'm 27. I'm from Slorgan. I'm half Maltese and half Irish, so I have my family living abroad, which is my sisters and my mum. And then obviously I have my dad and stuff over here, which is, I mean, the best of both worlds, but like, it's tough, especially like on them days where you're like, I just want to hug off my mum. Do you know what I mean? Or like, I need to like go out for a coffee with my sisters. But we're like 2025, so we have all like FaceTime and everything, so everything is good. But yeah, I currently work in childcare at the moment, which is one of the hard professionals. And as that, I have my online coaching business going at the moment. I started my fitness journey in 2020, which was after I had went and visited my mum. So we were in lockdown in March 2020, which is where I started going downhill. I was never the small girl, I was always the big girl. I was bullied in school and everything, so I kind of like never really cared much because I was like, "Do you know what it is." And you shouldn't care, to be honest, but it was lockdown that made me kind of realize, I was like, I need to change my life, because when March 2020 came, I had just gotten back from Newcastle after my birthday, and lockdown actually hit, and obviously childcare wasn't opening, and therefore I was at home. So I was actually going down to my friend's house every day, my friend Carly, and we would just like sit there and eat and like, do the bingos online, have drinks. And then like when I was at home, like I wasn't leaving the house because there was no purpose for me to leave the house. So I was literally only leaving the house to walk up to my local super value to get chocolate, pizzas, wine. It's just kind of the thing that people were doing. And then you were doing these quizzes online, and it was like, oh, let's have alcohol. And then the lockdown restrictions lifted. Like, I found it very hard because it was like restricting me to go over to Malta, where I was like, I can't see my family, whereas I go over like once a year. And I finally in July got to go over for 2 weeks. And I wasn't even looking at myself in the mirror or anything like that. I was just like living the dream. I was like, there's no work, this. So I then rented a villa with my family, and we were taking pictures and stuff like that. And still to this day, I was just like, what was I even thinking? And then had the best time, came home, and like I was uploading photos onto Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I can still picture the photo and I still use it on my socials. Like, I looked back on that picture and I was like what did you do? Like, it just literally, I went from being like a big girl to like a bigger girl, and I was like, this has to stop. So with my family, like, there's a history of diabetes, so that's another thing where I'm like, it's a big impact on my life. And only now I've kind of realized like it's really, really bad, like. So I was like, okay, I joined Fly Fit in Stillorgan, hadn't a clue what I was doing. I was just looking up online, and I got myself a PT. Now, it wasn't a proper PT that I had gotten at the time. It was kind of like she could fit me in whenever suited her. She never gave me my macros, she never done check-ins, nothing with me. And I just didn't see myself going anywhere. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I was looking at the Fly Fit board in Stillorgan, and I was like, right, there's a few PTs. So I actually reached out to Farrell, and firstly, he told me he couldn't take me because he was fully booked. So I was like, oh no, like I was fuming. I was like, what am I going to do? And then I asked him, like, could he recommend anyone else? And he actually got back to me then and told me, like, if you're willing to put 110% into this, he was like, I can squeeze you in. And basically, like, the rest was history, because since I joined Achievable Fitness back in 2020, my whole life, fast forward 5 years, is completely different. I'm now an online coach, and I get to do the exact work that a coach did with me. So when I reached out to Jay, I was like so nervous. I felt extremely nervous because it was a male PT, and I was just like, I was on the bigger side, and I was like, oh my God, like, what if he judges me? What if I can't do this? What if I get too breathless? All these things started going in my head. And like when I went up for my first session, like I literally wanted the floor to swallow me up. I was so nervous and so anxious. But realistically, a couple of sessions into that, like, Jay became like a really good friend. Still to this day is a really good friend. So I got stuck into that, and I immediately started seeing like progress and progress. Now bear in mind, like, I tried a load of diets, oh, I'm not going to eat chocolate, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat that. But it never stuck because I always gave in, and then I just binged. So when I went to Jay, he had explained calories, macros, calorie deficit, enjoying meals that you like. which I don't think a lot of PTs or a lot of people online explain to people, because I feel like a lot of people follow these trends like, oh, I'm going to do the keto diet, I'm going to do slim world, I'm going to do no carbs, which they're just trends. Whereas, like, if you set yourself into a calorie deficit, this is the whole reason I stuck to my journey and ended up losing 40 kg, was because I was taught how to enjoy the gym and be able to enjoy nice foods. So,
And can we just take a second to acknowledge that you just said 40 kg? Just in case anyone needs to clean out their ears, that was 40 kg. Sorry, Niamh, not to cut into your story, but like the whole journey, as I say, from like where you are, from where you were to where you are, and some of that awareness do continue. Like I'm not cutting across, but like all those little things that stacked in, I suppose, as you as you move forward, like from where that was and coming into like where things are now, like what was the biggest thing that kind of shifted that allowed that to happen and stay off?
my mindset changed because I didn't see the gym as something that I had to do. The gym was kind of like something that I get to do. Because, like, if you have the
Yeah,
mindset, like, that you're saying, oh, I have to go to the gym, I have to get the gym done, you're not going to stick to it because you're going to think, like, it's a chore that you need to do. Whereas, like, it's something that we get to do, it's something that our body allows us to do. And, like, the enjoyment that you get after a session of lifting weights and listening to good music, like, it's just, it doesn't compare to anything. Like, like, the gym has helped, like, with my mental health a lot. Like, I lost my auntie in 2020, just a week before Christmas, and I think the only way I was able to get through that was by going to the gym nearly every single day and just focusing on myself. It was a big impact on my life throughout my journey, and it was a big loss to me. So the gym really, really helped. And especially now, like, struggling with mental health and stuff, it's just like the gym is just my therapy. Like, I go to the gym and I just completely switch off.
yeah,
So, and like, I'm grateful that I can go to the gym and just be able to lift weights and be able to move around and be able to say, for someone who never stepped foot in a gym, to being an online coach now, being able to help other women, it's like, it's mind blowing.
and Niamh, you know that like we share a lot of the same story and some of the same, as I said, like steps and milestones. And for anyone listening who hasn't seen like before or after, it's more than just a photo. It's in how you hold yourself and being able to watch that happen as someone who is on the journey with you, as another client. So, I've been a client of Jay's ever since 2020 as well. And when you see that of somebody else in your team, I'm like a nervous kind of a person, and you wouldn't think it. And like people still and friends still don't always know some of the quirks. There's some of the little things where I do kind of get quite in my own head about things or get quiet about things, because there's something for all of us that um we become aware of in, as you mentioned, like some of those mindset habits, but also in our wellness kind of techniques and that. So what I mean in bringing that up is in watching you change as you changed, as someone who was working for kind of the same thing. So like I lost in total like something like 50 pounds. But when you say there the case of being the big girl, but now like an even bigger girl, that was my story too. And like, and seeing photos at my birthday at that time where it was like, who is this? Like, it's like enough is enough. So
Yeah.
yeah, kind of getting that shift of I'm doing this. This is something that has to happen. This is something that has to change. And seeing the women that's changing for and with your coach or with the team or wherever it is you're doing it, you know, I think that's part of the reason that it lasts, you know, as well as having a good coach. And, you know, Jay, who facilitated the quizzes with the alcohol in the lockdown. That's what I had to laugh when you said that. But, you know, and having, because you need balance, it's all about balance. In having a coach, but also in having, you know, good teammates. I don't always put myself out there enough, you know, in forging sometimes connections or friendships with people who are either a step ahead of me on the journey or on the journey with me, because I in the past have like felt like, and sometimes still can, oh, people don't want to hear from me, or you know, it's that kind of little self-identity belief thing that kind of gets at you. So I'm wondering, Niamh, how has it been for you in empowering other women now and in deciding to share your journey for someone else like that, and getting in front of the camera and doing all those things that it means to help someone else and connect with someone else?
See, the thing with me was I saw myself, I always look back to that girl that started the gym. So I'm like, I understand how hard it is to reach out to a coach. So I was that girl. So I don't want anybody feeling ashamed or anything. Like, I want people to reach out to me and be like, okay, she's been where I am. She's walked the walk. She's been there. She's done all the hard work. She's still working. And I just feel like it's just the best thing that I've done, because me being able to help women is like just a dream of mine. I had said to Jay a couple of years ago, I said, oh, I'd love to do a PT course. And he always said to me, look, it's not easy, he said, but it is worth it, because you have to deal with everything that comes along with it. Like, you know, like sometimes, I don't know if you were the same way, but Jay was kind of like a therapist as well. You
Yeah.
know, you kind of like, you're like, okay, so, and you give him a whole rundown through your week, and you're just like, hold on, like, is he my PT or is he my therapist? And I actually love that, because like when I get my check-ins from my girls like on a Monday, I'm like so buzzing to hear everything. And then like the long, like I'd say they hate me because I send about a 10-minute long voice note, you know. But it's actually something I enjoy to do, and it's what I want to start doing now, is creating more content for people to, you know, enjoy and follow, and hopefully I can reach one person out there, like, you know, because a lot of people are watching, but they don't interact. But if I reach out to one person, I'll be happy. It's not all about, like, everybody wants it to be all like, oh, followers, likes, comments, shares, you know. It's not all about that. Like,
Yeah.
what it really is about you touching someone's, like, getting to someone, you know, like you reached out to me after you seen one video that I posted there the other day. So that, like, you know, it's not all about social media. It's just about the right people.
I make no secret of the fact that my life changed completely when I reached out to Achievable Fitness 365. Jay is someone who not only gets the fitness side of things, he gets the human side of things. And in having someone who's walked the walk and talks the same thoughts has made me comfortable from the very get-go. Actually, that's a complete lie. I fell in the door and was sick on my first day, but kind of after that I got comfortable somewhere along the line. Jay knows people, he knows the industry, and he's someone who will know you better than you know yourself. The accountability that he holds, the standard that he sets for you and not for anyone else, is what brought me back into me originally, more than 4 years ago. If you're ready to begin your fitness journey and don't know where to reach out, try Jay. And as I say, my life has never been the same since. You're so right, Niamh. And we spoke about this before, where it's again not about the masses, but it's the thing of when you're in a growing phase and you are changing, you want to make sure that you're around the people who are changing with you and want to see that change and that growth happen for you. So, a coach is someone who's keeping that focus forward and building those habits with you to get you there. Like, yeah, like I'd say nothing to you or on here, anything that like I haven't said outward to Jay, but like he and my other coaches as well, but Jay is my long term and the one who started all this for me, really and truly. It's the case of, you can build by yourself and for yourself, but it doesn't matter if you can't share it, and every client has a really unique journey with their coach, and you said there with your girls when, you get that catch up on a Monday, like there's something only maybe about them. And for anyone listening, some of our other episodes there with Emma Carter this season where we talked about that from like a teaching perspective as well. It's the kind of thing of like, your students, your client, maybe even you'd agree with me with children, like you'd know your child. Like I'm not a mom as of yet or anything, but Alex, who was on in season 1 with us, like, talking about that, and she says that it's her children that are her mirror all the time for her, in wanting to do better and be better and that kind of thing. But equally, you just see something. What I'm getting at is you see something in your protege and they see something in us, So I think for me anyway, that was the changing point, one of those changing points where it's like, okay, I can share some of my story. You're not my therapist. But equally in someone who understands parts of the journey that you don't even understand. That's where that coach-client relationship builds. And again, Jonathan this season talked about that too. So Niamh, I'm curious in what you do now with your clients. What do you see as you? What do you see as something maybe you learned as a client? And what is something that you are doing that is Niamh Kiernan, NK Fitness, that you really bring for the girls that need just
One
you, like need just you, nobody else.
one thing that I do with the girls is I don't share their business because like some people they don't want everything blasted on social media. They don't want their before and afters. So what I tend to do is I just keep it to myself because some people aren't confident, and that's fair enough. Like I wouldn't have been confident back then before when Jay started posting me, only until when I realized, oh my God, like I wasn't seeing changes in the scale sometimes, but when you compare photos, this is the main thing I say to my clients is when you compare photos, that's when you start to see like you're changing, because I always used to be like, oh my God, the scales isn't moving, the scales isn't moving. But you have to think about it, the scales isn't going to move, and if you're in the gym, like there's always other aspects, like you're building muscle, you could be due your
Okay.
menstrual cycle, you could be, some excess water, like it's not all about the scales, and this is what I try to blend into my clients' head because I was that girl who was obsessed with the scales. And I was that girl that who was obsessed with why can't I look like her? Oh my God,
Yeah.
like look at her, why can't I be like that? But what I do tell them is you are your own person. You look like you. You're working for this because you want to and not to look like a certain person. I tell them that they need to like be happy and proud of their body, because it's all like going back to social media, it's all this person, which it's all fake sometimes. Like, like you look at people and like it's like edited or anything like that. When in real life, like they don't look anything like that, like if you're looking at Kim Kardashian or like, like people are always like, oh, I'd love to have her body. And I'm like, but why wouldn't you love to have your own body? This is always what I try to drill into their heads because they just get so like, oh, like they just get worked up over it. And it's just like, don't be looking at social media. that's always what I was told, is don't be looking at social media. You're your own person. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I hear you. And that's so important because, like, with thinking of me and a lot of the work I did myself in self work and from coaching, from fitness, but it all started there, in identity work, and then also in the other realms that I've gone down the last couple of years with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Jay Shetty, and that is, as you say, when you are comfortable with you know, when you know who that is and you are doing things for them, and I mean like for them as in me, singular, and you're comfortable in the weight loss, or you're comfortable in the change that you've made for yourself and whatever it might be, you know, when you realize that you have you know, that's where things start to shift and things start to change in
yeah,
finding that little bit of comfort. I don't know, does that make sense? In the journey, as they say. And Niamh, I know you have a passion for bringing that to other people, and as we kind of said at the start as well, like and you mentioned like with the childcare, where do you see you and NK Fitness and childcare and that maybe in your big picture, or have you ever really planned out? Because, and the reason I ask you this is we have friends listening who, like us, maybe had and have some of those body image kind of question marks, or maybe are at a point of that change of I need to go hell for leather and I don't know where to start and I don't know who to ask, or are in the middle of it and something just isn't fully clicking. Maybe it's not the right um, coach or that they're with, or maybe it's the case that something's been working for a while and now isn't working anymore. I suppose, what do you see for you, and what would you say in terms of like looking at all those big picture things and the pieces of you, as you say, that fit together? Does that make sense?
yeah. I mean, like, what I'd love to do in a couple of years is maybe open my own female studio, because I don't know, like with lads, now I'm not being like biased around like that, but with men, it's kind of like they just kind of go into the gym and they're okay. Now, some people will get anxiety, but I know for a lot of women, it's like, oh my God, I'm going into the gym. Are they going to look at me? Are they going to judge me? Whereas I'd love to be able to open up my own studio, which is women only, and maybe a childcare attached to it, because I know how hard it is. Like, my sisters now have recently started their fitness journey, and it's like trying to fit your lifestyle around your child as well. Um, it's like it's hard because I know some people as well. I had a client in the past where it was like it was hard for them to get to the gym because they had kids, so they had to do different things. So it'd be kind of nice to be able to have a drop off center, if that makes sense. I don't mean it to be like bad, but like where you'd be able to like enjoy the gym for an hour and leave your child in like with a childminder or something like that for an hour, which was attached to the gym. And I'd say that'd make it a lot easier for a lot of mums out there, because I know a lot of mums out there struggle to get to the gym or struggle to have an hour to themselves, and that'd just be my dream. Like,
I love that. I love that vision, Eve, and I love it because logistically and everything it completely makes sense, but and for all the right reasons. But it's the thing of, and this is where I get really bogged down, are used to. And I was talking to a client today, literally about exactly this. It's when we think of like our 17-year-old self, or we think of like doing one thing and we don't see past that. We either we can't see further into the future, or we can't see how things will connect together. It's the kind of step of, if I'm doing one thing in the direction of something that is right, it's like one rep at a time, it's that kind of thing of like, I can only do one exercise right now, and then I do the next one, and then I finish my session, and then I come back and I do another session like this week. I think like building a future and building a vision is a little like that, in where sometimes we get frustrated. If you have any thoughts on that, Niamh, because I could share a lot of them, on those times when you were watching the scale, or you were watching the progress photos, or it was just one of those weeks where it's like, I absolutely don't want to be doing this, and why is this not happening quicker? Is there any time that like kind of maybe hit a bit of a head for you, or what were kind of some of your challenges in
I've
getting to
had a
where
few
you're at the moment?
challenges. I'm not gonna lie, I've had a few challenges. After 2021, I continued my fitness journey, and then lockdown happened again. And as you know yourself, we were doing the home workouts and stuff like that on Zoom. Um, and I was obsessed with them. I like was obsessed with the gym. But then after a couple of months, I had kind of hit a stage. Like I got into a relationship in May 2021, and I was like, okay, I felt, just because I had a boyfriend, I felt like my old self again. I was like, I don't care, you know? Whereas like he pushed me, and he still pushes me to this day to get myself to the gym and stuff, like, but I got in such a rut that I was just like going to the gym and just not like doing a half-hour session, and I was just like, "Do you know what? I don't care." But then I got myself into another routine, and I got back to where I wanted to be. I got a new PT. She was an online coach, Emma Stevenson. She helped me a lot.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I remember that journey.
And I done a photo shoot with her, so I done a prep photo shoot, and then I was getting all the compliments. I was like, "Oh my God, you look unreal, this, that, and the other." And then I just hit like a stage back in 2023, or no, 2024, sorry. um, After my photo shoot, I was just like, I don't care. I was doing my PT course at the time, and I was like, right, this is great and everything. But after the photo shoot, I was just kind of like, right, it's like I achieved the goal that I wanted,
Yeah.
but I was like, let's just leave it there. So I finished my course. Now I was going to the gym, but like I'd go like once a week or twice every 2 weeks. And I was like, what am I going to do? So then I booked a holiday, and that's what kind of got me back in the mindset. And that was great. I brought Connor to Malta for the first time, which was unreal. Felt amazing in my body, and then I came home, and myself and Connor moved in together. And this is where it got hard, because I just hit a rut where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was thinking of my clients. I was like, I have to do it for my clients. But in my head, I got that block. I was like, no, I just don't want to do this. I was using it as an excuse because I had only moved out and I had no gym at the moment. So then Connor was like, oh, join the gym. It'll do good for you, blah, blah, blah. So I joined the gym. But I think I went to the gym since September to December. I think I went to the gym about 5 times, and my head wasn't there anymore. It was like I was losing the spark for it, and I was just like, I don't know. And Connor was like, what's going on? It's just like I felt like I had hit my target, and
Yeah.
I had my goal and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I don't need to, do you know? And then Christmas came along, my family was over for Christmas, and because I have my apartment now, it was easier for like me to have people over, your cheese boards, your chocolate and your drinks, and it just all kind of added up. And then the 6th of January came and I was like, look, I'm going to join a new gym and I'm really going to focus on myself, because when I stepped on those scales, I could feel myself going back to the old me. And I didn't want to be my old self because it wasn't healthy. Like I said, I have family with diabetes and it's a big impact in my family that I'm trying to avoid it. So since then, I've kind of just set myself a new goal where I'm not focusing on the sales. I'm just focusing on my clothes fitting better and I'm just focusing on me just being there. It's just kind of like when you get to the gym, it's like, I don't want to be here. And especially, I don't know, like, if it's packed, you're just like, oh, like, why am I here? But I just think in my head, I'm here because I want to better myself again. I don't want to fall into old habits. So, like, I just found that hard because it all kind of like, I was just getting visions of myself, like my old self. And I didn't want to fail myself after achieving so much, after achieving a photo shoot. And I didn't even set myself a goal because I feel like if you set yourself a goal, you're just going to work towards it. And then if you achieve that goal, you're just going to go backwards again. It's like, I just want to 1% better myself every single day. Because if I do that, like, I'm just, by the end of the year, I'm going to be a better person again.
It all stacks up.
Yeah.
As they say, you can never know. I'm paraphrasing, but the day my granny says it, she says it different. But the day you plant the seed is not the day you harvest the fruit. But she says the day of the something, not the scallop. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. I'll have to check in on her with that, and I'll let you know, Niamh. But it's the case of once that seed is planted, and as long as it keeps being tended and minded and looked after, like growth will happen. But as you say, sometimes it's that 1%, and it's saying I'm not. It's when you let go of I am not this and I am that. It's like those identity beliefs of this is not someone who I am. This is I'm more than this. And but also being okay with those down times. So, Niamh, I know we've spoken in personal chats over the years and that, and I know some of our friends listening, particularly any of our Thinking of Me blog original followers, where it's that kind of thing of it's not about the likes, it's not about the high numbers, but you mightn't even get a like on your story, never mind on a post, where it's only private and people see. But Thinking of Me blog, particularly our Instagram, is where over the last couple of years you'd share something and you get a message out of the blue from someone that says thank you so much for sharing that honesty, that realness of things that we all share and go through. So that like post high low that can come, or after you succeed something and follow through, but maybe that fulfillment starts to leave again, or we don't know what the next thing is. It's not about chasing the next high. It's about really creating something that's lasting. And Niamh, you're so honest there in kind of saying that, like, the time where the distance from the gym, but also knowing that like it's somewhere that you are, it's important for you, your clients, and overall it was just kind of one of those moments of a back seat. I suppose it's those backseat moments. What do you have? And it's great to hear that, the wine and the food and everything is still a part of life, because that is life. It's not about restricting, it's about integrating, and I'm the same. I went to see a client in person. I won't call him out, but we actually both know him. And if you're listening, hi, you know who you are. But where he had pastries and everything ready for me, and this is like the month of January now that we're filming this, and he says, "I don't know if you're on a diet or anything," and I looked at him and I was like, it's the same as any other month of the year. You know, January is the same as any other month. That's the way I treat it and work with it now. And I say every day is a chance for a new year, you know, like, so that
Yeah.
1% better and those choices and that. So I was like, absolutely, give me the pastries. So I'm delighted to have them. Niamh, what do you do to protect that even when it's one of those, I'm in a back seat, I'm not like making huge leaps of progress. I'm not in like a quantum leap phase, but I am doing that 1% or that maintenance thing, or that just like I'm having a rest because rest is a productive task. What are kind of some of your key pillars or key safety nets that just hold you up or keep you there? I know you
I
mentioned your relationship as one.
I have a lot of support from my boyfriend. So he'd be my like why I keep going some days. Um, but as well as that, like I used to beat myself up so much if I didn't go to the gym. And I used to beat myself up if I ate a bar of chocolate. Like it was like the end of the world. And now if I want to eat a bar of chocolate, I'll eat a bar of chocolate. I might even
Uh-huh.
eat three. Do you know what I mean? I just I give myself the rest. And this is what I tell my clients as well, like rest is needed. You need to rest your body. Like, like many a times I've stopped PTing. Like I think Jay like hated me because I used to be like, okay, I'm taking a break now, and then I'd be back after like 2, 3 weeks training with him. And it was the same with my other PT, Emma. Um, but I used to feel a lot more motivated when I took a step back and I just enjoyed being me without being in the gym, without being in a calorie deficit, just enjoying life. And then it was kind of like, I get bored of it then. Do you know, I'm like, right, I need to go to the gym. Because, like that, I feel like going to the gym is an hour for yourself. You get to work on yourself for an hour. But at the same time, like, you just need to rest the mind, rest the body. This is why I used to train 7 days a week. And this is when I got obsessed and addicted with the gym. And then you just burn out. Like,
Yeah.
realistically, you should only be doing 4 or 5 days max in the gym and just resting and just giving yourself that headspace. And if you don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine. If you miss the gym, it's not the end of the world. If you eat something that's over your calories, it's not the end of the world. That's what I keep saying to myself. It's not the end of the world. Because the old me would think, oh my God, I ate a bar of chocolate, the scales is going to go up, my check-in's going to be bad. But that's how you stick to your plan, is like by letting yourself do the things that you're not meant to do. Because a lot of people say, oh, you can't rest, you can't eat this,
Yeah.
but you're not going to stick to a routine. Like, I thrive on routine, and like, you're not going to stick to it if you're restricting yourself and cutting these things out and forcing yourself to do things that you do not want to do. So, I currently train 4 days a week at the moment, but sometimes I may only get 2 days in a week because if it's been a long day in work or if it's been a tough day in work, I just want to come home, and that's okay. But some people will think, oh no, I need to discipline myself, I need to discipline myself. I see a lot of coaches and like ads and stuff that come on, and it's like, oh, it's all about discipline, it's all about motivation, it's all about this. But in reality, it's not about discipline or
Yeah.
motivation. It's about you and what's going to work for you. That's what I always say. It's what works for you, not what works for this person or what works for this coach. It's you versus you at the end of the day. And you don't want to have that hate towards yourself because you're not letting your body rest, because you're not letting your body have some nice food, or you're not going out on the weekend. Like, do you know what I mean? It's all
You're not
about balance.
sleeping.
It's all about balance as well. So that's how I deal with it. Like, I used to just feel so bad and be like, it was like, I don't, like, I should be arrested for it, like, do you know? And now I'm just like, do you know what? I didn't go to the gym. So what? We'll go again the next day. And that's what I see a lot as well with people online. Oh, I'm gonna start my diet on Monday. Just go again the next day. If
Yeah.
you fail, like if at first you don't succeed, you try again. But don't wait till the Monday. Just go again tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say to myself. Just go again tomorrow. You're fine.
Yeah. I think that's so true, Niamh. And I, like, if I could go back and tell myself, my 2021, 2022 self, particularly that end of 21, early 2022 season self, anything, it was go to fucking sleep. I think anyone listening here who, has had that feeling of, God, like that, I'm a failure because I'm after eating the chocolate, or I didn't get to the gym today, as you say, or whatever it might be, or I'm after, heaven forbid, falling asleep. You know, you maybe are on too much of a high and you can't maintain it. And without this being a thing of like right or wrong approach to coaching or right or wrong mindset kind of thing, it is about like the consistency. And this is my big focus this year, is consistency. That's one of my keywords for the year, in because I like Niamh, and in a way I know you know what I mean here, where like you've the freedom to choose your day. You've kind of have that freedom to choose what you're going to stick with or you're going to make a change with. And maybe, for anyone listening who's maybe exploring what that would look like, and if you're on the edge of making a change in one way or the other, I know that getting that leap or putting that push across, and not knowing what the future is going to hold, it can only be positive when it lines up with you, as you said. And if I could go back and tell myself, it's okay that you don't have it all figured out right now today, go to sleep anyway, or like that you've missed like a session. It's one thing about building and putting the right things in place to get you there, and making those habits, of course, and as you mentioned there, like sometimes to discipline yourself, sometimes that is needed, but also kind of being able to say, as you said, it's not the end of the world, or this is not fully who I am. And otherwise you wake up one day and suddenly you've got all these things around you that's half built or what you're standing on isn't fully for you. And I woke up like that, where it was like, this isn't the life I want to be living in. It kind of had all the foundations in the wrong places. So yeah, like taking that step back to not worry or
Yeah.
go too fast, in getting to use your words there, a little bit obsessed, with it. But knowing that it's moving you. So Niamh, in the things that are moving you and moving you forward, and all things that old self and new self and potential new projects, all that kind of thing that's lined up, is 2025 like for you and for NK Fitness?
Honestly, I haven't a clue. That's being it.
I love it. I love it.
I'm working on bettering myself, definitely, and putting myself first, focusing on me, because the last couple of years I've just been putting other people first and stuff like that. Whereas now I want to be able to give myself that bit of love and self-care that I deserve. I'm not full of myself around, but like
No, yeah, you need to put you in the picture.
yeah, I mean, career wise, I haven't a clue. Like, I'm still 27. I have my online business. I am in childcare, but I'm still young. I don't really have anything set in stone, but my main priority is building an empire of women. So I want to start by incorporating in some events for women. You do not have to be a client of mine. So maybe some hikes, some walks, some coffees. I just want to build something where I can say, I done this. Like, the me 5 years ago wouldn't think that I'd be able to do something like this or to pull off something like this. The me 5 years ago would literally be sitting back at home in my dad's, eating a bag of crisps and binging on chocolate, ordering a Chinese every single day of the week. But now I get to say 2025 is the year where it's going to take off. I want to start by incorporating photo shoots for my clients. I have so many big plans for 2025 for NK Fitness that I don't want to give away a lot, but we'll get there. So it's just all about building my business and building Unreal Girls and, just slaying 2025
I
and just go
absolutely
with the
love it.
flow.
And the flow is so important. We need to work with the flow.
Exactly.
Niamh, may I ask you while we are live on the podcast, will you come to the Thinking of Me podcast Women's Only Summit, where some of our gals can hear some more of our Women Who Thrive who've been on season 1 and now also at season 2. I'm formally inviting you on your own episode to say, will you come and serve the girls even further on our first live event?
Of course, I'd be delighted to. That's what I want to be involved in, is empowering women and live events, and yeah, and I'm gonna tell you.
Amazing. And this is brilliant because I was like, I asked you and then like immediately, please say yes, or we're cutting this episode.
One thing I will say to anybody starting their fitness journey is it takes time. It's not gonna happen overnight. The scales is gonna go up, the scales is gonna go down, but once you trust the process, it will happen, because there's no magic pill to take for you to lose weight in the space of a week, basically. Because going back to say that I have lost 40 kg and I'm still in the process of losing a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
it did take me 4 years to
Yeah.
maintain and to just like lose that weight. I just think a lot of people out there think that because you're not moving down on the scales or it's not happening so quick, it's like, I'm gonna give up. So what I will say is, we all start somewhere, and do not give up on your dreams, because it will happen. If you stay consistent, if you eat that
Yeah.
Chinese that you want, if you eat that bar of chocolate that you want, you will stick to your diet, you will stick to your lifestyle change. Because
Yeah.
realistically, we don't want to really call it a diet. We just want to call it a lifestyle change, where we're gonna lose weight, we're gonna rock those bikinis, we're gonna feel confident in ourselves and just love our body and feel confident in our own skin, and to be able to say, I want to look like me.
Love that. It's like the BB Rexa song, Girl in the Mirror. I want to look like me.
When
I
you
want to
look at
be.
yourself, yeah,
Yeah.
when you look at yourself in the mirror, you should be proud, because your weight or anything doesn't like define who you are. Like, it just doesn't. Like, you should just love yourself for who you are. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Niamh, thank you so, so much, because everything you've said is so true. And as I said at the start, it's the lived experience, and this isn't coming from someone who should, could, woulds, all that kind of thing. You know, as I say, everyone has a different approach, a different style. There's some things that we have to learn or hear from someone. Even if it's the same thing we've heard, we need to hear it from someone that we like, know, trust, and can see a bit of ourselves in. And Niamh, I've always seen a lot of me in you, and that kind of thing, you know, like, and that's where friendships and connections can happen. So for anyone who's listening, again, friend, like, if you haven't looked at Niamh's page, go take a look at NK Fitness and just see, one, the achievement that she's made for herself through the work of our shared coach, and her other coaches, but first and foremost from her decision to go with, I'm going to put myself in the forefront here, and as well as that, the work that she's now doing for other gals. So Niamh, really looking forward to seeing what the year brings, and knowing that, and I'm not just saying this, like, knowing that you genuinely are following you and knowing that whatever happens next in all the future steps, the big picture is all lined up for you. And I can't wait to have you on here again, maybe. And definitely, as you say, at the summit. And yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say as we wrap?
No, just believe in yourself. You got this, and you can, and you will. And as my dad, Charlie, always says to me, just do your best. And if all else fails, just go again tomorrow. The
I love
words
it.
of a wise man, Charlie Kiernan.
100%. Words of wisdom to close on. Niamh, I'll see you at the summit. I'll be talking to you before then. And for anyone listening, as we say, it's NK Fitness, and you can register for our Women Only Summit at thinkingofmecoaching.com/summit, where I'll be there. Niamh will be there. And some of our other gals in all things thriving and consistency and everything else. So thanks, Niamh, again.